Kal Kadosh Boker Or. This week's parasha is called Parashat Yitro. So I think it's very, very apropos, and we're going to speak about the father-in-law. Yeah, Yitro is the father-in-law of Moshe, and therefore we're going to speak a little bit about the concept of a father-in-law, different halachot. So, for example, they once asked Rav Zilberstein a beautiful question. The question is, your wife, sorry, your wife is coming from out of town, and your father-in-law is coming from out of town. Now, one of them is coming to Miami International, and one of them is coming to Fort Lauderdale. And it happens to be that they're coming at the exact same time. So, who do you go to pick up? Do you go to pick up your wife, or do you go to pick up your father-in-law? That's the question. Yeah, it's $1 million question. If you get it right, let's see. Second. So they asked this question to Rav Zilberstein, and the way that Rav Zilberstein always answers is never going to be from a svara, but rather, let's see what's written in the Torah. The Torah says in this week's parasha, right? Shemot, Perek Yudchet, chapter 18, Pasuk Zayin, Vayetze Moshe likrat choteno. Meaning, if you take the parasha says that Yitro comes and he tells Moshe Rabbeinu that I'm chotencha Yitro ba'elecha, that I, your father-in-law Yitro, is coming to you, V'ishtecha u'shne vanei ima, and also your wife and your two children. So Yitro is coming and sending a message. It's actually a letter. He's coming and sending a message and telling Moshe Rabbeinu, listen, by the way, I'm coming to you with your wife and your two children. So who does Moshe come out to greet? So now, if you're going to tell me, usually I would say, listen, you're coming, I would come out for the wife, for the children, right? But what does it say in the Torah? Vayetze Moshe likrat choteno. Moshe Rabbeinu comes towards his father-in-law. The Hemek Davar, which is the Netziv Mivolozhin, he comes and he says these words. Listen carefully. Lo likrat choteno, lo mechamat ishto vanav. It's not because of his wife and children. Ela mechamat choteno. It's because of the father-in-law. Shekach hadin lichvod lechabed chamiv. Because that's the halacha. They have to respect your father-in-law. V'gam lechabeb ager, and also to respect the ger. Ulchabdo b'Yisrael, to give him kavod. Vehodia ve'era lakol she'eno porel lechoteno ve'lo lishto ubanav. Says the Netziv Mivolozhin. What does that mean? That he's showing to everybody that who are you supposed to go out to? To your father-in-law and not to your wife and children. That's a Netziv Mivolozhin. So comes the Rav Zilberstein and he says like this. We learn from the Hemek Davar that Moshe Rabbeinu came and he was telling everybody. It wasn't that he did it in hiding. He was telling everybody, who am I going out to greet? My father-in-law. Your wife and your children are coming. No, I'm going out to my father-in-law. Why? Shechayav adam bichvod chamiv. You're obligated in the kavod of your father-in-law. So from here we learn that if you have a doubt which one to do, and even though his wife was a tzadeket, because we know that Tzipora, when it says that she was a kushit, she was a beautiful woman, but she was different in her skin, means that she's different than she was a tzadeket. But still, a person is obligated in the kavod chamiv more than anything else. That's what what he brings down. Now he comes and he says, 1 second, but I would have wanted to say that really Be'emet, maybe Be'emet he only went out, if it wasn't for the Netziv, I would have said, listen, he went out for the Netziv because really Be'emet, right, the Yitro was a very special person, right? Yitro was a very, very big tzaddik. He was a, how do you call this? We added an extra parasha because of him. That's why it's Yeter Yitro. He came and he gave us a judicial system because he was one that told Moshe Rabbeinu what to do, and then we started making judges, and he started doing. So therefore, I would have said to this, listen, it's no proof really meant to do with the father-in-law. I would have just said that, and that's what he could have also said, right? But he didn't say that. He said, no, the really be'emet, right? It has to do with what? With the father-in-law. But now there's a stira, a contradiction. You know why the contradiction is? The Gemara Masechet Yuma comes and it says on the Bet Amud Aleph, V'chiper ba'ado uvad beto. When a Kohen Gadol comes on Kippur and he has to bring an atonement, so he brings different atonements. The first atonement is for him, right? And then it's going to be for the Chava Kohanim, the brothers of the Kohanim, and then it's going to be for all of Am Yisrael. And that's what we do in the Seder Avodav Musaf. So Musaf of Yom Kippur, you're going to come in all the viduis in the confessions, you're going to realize that he does one for him and his family, right? And then for the Kohanim, and then it's going to be, and that's by the way in everything. Anytime that you do Netilat Yadayim, who do you do first? Yourself. Then you do everybody else. You're going to do kaparot with chickens or with money. Who do you do first? Yourself. And then you do everybody else. So it's always that you have the kapara first and then everybody else. But here it says, v'chipet ba'ado uvad beto. Who's uvad beto? Uvad beto is zoishto. It's his wife. So if uvad beto is for his wife, so therefore his wife should become for everybody. Because that's him. And then it's going to be for everybody else. So he comes and he answers like this. He says, to do with kapara atonement, you're right. Your wife comes first. That means if you have to give an atonement for someone, it's you and your wife 100% before anybody else. But to do with kavod, you're obligated in the kavod of your father-in-law before the kavod of your wife. And therefore, that's what you're supposed to do first. You first go out to the father-in-law. But he comes and he says, but actually, it's actually a machloket poskim. Why? Because we're going to learn it in a few minutes. That really be'emet, right? The Shulchan Aruch says, chayav adam lechabed et chamiv. Right? A person is obligated to respect his father-in-law. And the reason why is a machloket between the poskim. The Shach learns you have to give them respect like any other zikinim, like elders. And the Taz comes and he says, no, you're obligated to respect them because of David HaMelech. David HaMelech came and he said, Avi re'eh gam re'eh, which we're going to explain in a few minutes. So from there we learned that you're obligated in your father-in-law just like you and your parents. So therefore, the fact that he came and he said that you're obligated in their father-in-law just like your parents, right? So therefore it comes out that it makes sense. But according to the Bach and the Shach, that it's only just because of like other zikinim, so then why did he go out to his father-in-law more than to his wife? He should first go out to his wife and children. And with this, we have the second reason of the Hemek Davar to be mechabev et hager, to come, and because he was so precious, the ger. Meaning he wanted to show, look at this person, he converted. I want to show how precious he is to Am Yisrael. We're going to come out to greet him. So therefore, we purposely came out to greet him to show how precious it was, the genim, and that's why he did it. So, but it comes out that it's actually a machloket. Until here we're clear. Right? That's what he comes out. Now, when we're going to come and speak about this, right, it comes out as follows. There is a beautiful, right, there's a beautiful two different midrashim. Okay? And the midrashim go as follows. There's a mechilta. Mechilta on this week's parasha, that the mechilta comes and it says like this. Vayetze Moshe likrat choteno. Moshe Rabbeinu comes out towards his father-in-law. Vayishtachu, right? Vayishtachu lo vayishak ish l're'eu l'shalom. Vayevo ha'olah. Right? So now he kisses him. He bows down to him and he kisses him. Who kisses to who? So the midrash comes and it says like this. This is a mechilta. Remember, mechilta is a midrash on Shemot. And it says, vayishtachu vayishaklo vayishelu ish l're'eu l'shalom. En yodea mi ishtachava lami. O mi nashak lami. Who kissed who and who bowed down to who? So kishehu omer v'yishalu ish l're'eu l'shalom. So when he comes and he says that he comes and he said he gave him shalom, he saluted him, he came and he said hi to him, he greeted him. Who is the ish? Who is the person that's called ish? Yeah, anybody knows? Who's called ish? We always say tefillah leMoshe ish ha'Elohim Adonai ma'onat yitalem dor vador. What does that mean? Ish is Ish ha'Elokim is Moshe Rabbeinu. As it says, Ve'a'ish Moshe, Anav Meod. Moshe Rabbeinu was very Anav. So the Ish, whenever it says Ish L'Re'eu, who is Ish? Ish is Moshe. So the Heve Omer, that who was the one? It was Moshe Rabbeinu. So Moshe Rabbeinu bowed down to his father-in-law, and he kissed his father-in-law. Mikan Amru, from here we learn, She'eh Adam Muchan Lichvod Chamiv. You should be ready to respect your father-in-law. But the Midrash Tehillim, which that was the one that we quoted before, on David HaMelech, it's also Yalkut Shimoni, yeah, Remes Kuf Lamed Gimel, and it's also the Midrash in Tehillim Mizmor Zayin, right? It says, why does David HaMelech come and he says, Avi re'eh gam re'eh et knaf me'alecha, right, mi'lecha biyadi. He comes and he says, David HaMelech comes and he's being chased by his father-in-law, right? Meaning this concept of the father-in-law wanting to kill the son-in-law, right? It's already in the books of history. You understand? It didn't happen today and tomorrow. You understand? And yesterday. There's already Shaul HaMelech wanted to come and he wanted to kill his son-in-law. Who is that? David HaMelech, right? Lavan wanted to kill his son-in-law. Who is that? Yaakov Avinu. This is already in the history books. It wasn't invented yesterday. You know, the father-in-law is going to come and kill the son-in-law. Okay, fine. What happens? Shaul HaMelech is running after David. And when he's running after David, he comes and David HaMelech is able to sneak in and he's able to actually even kill him. He actually did it twice, by the way. One was with the knaf, right? And the other one was with the, with the water and the thing that he showed basically that he went in and he was able to kill him and he didn't actually kill him. And basically he went and he showed Shaul that he says, what's the proof that I'm not going to kill you? I've got the knaf of your clothing. I could have came and I could have killed you. Nobody would have not known anything. It would have been already too late. But I didn't. To show you that I have nothing against you. And David HaMelech comes and he calls him Avi Re'eh Gam Re'eh. My father. He calls him my father. Right? So therefore, says the Midrash, he says, Mikan shechayav Adam bichvod chamiv kichvod aviv. From here you learn you're obligated to respect your father-in-law, just like your father. So it comes out that what we're trying to say over here is there's two different midrashim. One midrash just says you should be ready to respect them. And from the Tur coming and does not say that the person's chayav. The Tur just says a person should respect the father-in-law, but he doesn't say chayav. So therefore the Bach already comes and he's deducing from the Tur, right, that really by minute, it's not a chovah, it's not an obligation. It's like other zekenim, it's like elderly people. That means even though it could be that maybe when they got married, they were young and therefore the father-in-law was not an elderly man, he was maybe in his 40s or whatever it is, you still have to respect him like an elderly person. Why? He's your father-in-law. But that was the first midrash, the Mechilta. That's on the midrash on the Chumash. But if you learn like the midrash in Tehillim, it's a chovah. And it comes out that this machloket, what we're seeing, the two different midrashim, is a machloket between the Taz Nashach. So now it comes out an incredible concept. So now we're going to come and we're going to ask a bomba question. A bomb. Listen to this question. Okay, I'm going to ask you the question as follows. Your father asks you to get a glass of water. And your mother asks you to get a glass of water. Who do you listen to? Who do you bring first? Not who do you have to listen to both, but who do you bring first, right? The glass of water. So now when we ask ourselves, who are you supposed to give first? So the truth is it's a Gemara mefureshet. The Gemara comes and the Gemara says in Masechet Kiddushin, he comes and he says the following. Daf Lamed Aleph Amud Bet, he comes and he says, Kavod Av comes before Kavod Em. Why? She'ata vehi chayavim bichvodo. Meaning, not only are you obligated to respect your father, your mother is obligated to respect her husband. So therefore, since your mother is obligated to respect her husband, and now you have to respect your father and your mother, but since she's also obligated to respect the father, so therefore you have to give to your father first. And that's what's brought down in Shulchan Aruch, Siman Reshmem Sif Yud Bet, that who comes first? Sorry, not that one. It's another sif. But it's Siman Reshmem is Kibud Avayim. There it's to do with the Murah, about who that you're not calling names and things like that. But what are you supposed to do first? Father and then the mother. However, though, says the Gemara, right? Says the Gemara that, right, to do with if they're divorced, all of a sudden, if they're divorced, you choose. Because since the mother is not obligated anymore to respect the father, so therefore, since she's not obligated anymore to respect the father, so therefore, what happens is what? Is that all of a sudden now, if they're equal, whichever one you choose, you have it. I don't know if it's whichever one asks you first or whichever one you choose, even though Sammy did say something very smart that he said, listen, maybe she needs more of the support. It could be, but the concept is that now you choose. Now, remember that this concept of respect is very, very special because I do know that some people say, but what? He doesn't have to respect his wife. It's not the same. The respect to the wife is you have to respect your wife, but it's not the same. Who serves who? Right? The woman serves the man or the man has to serve the woman, right? Obviously, it's the women are the ones that are serving their husbands because they are meshubad to their husbands to come and to serve them. And that's the kavod that they give to their husbands. The husband respects his wife by buying her clothing, buying her jewelry, right? Making her feel like a queen. But really, Be'emet, the one that's obligated in the respect, it's always the woman to the husband. The woman has to come and serve her husband food, serve her husband thing, do the laundry, do the this, do the that. All these things that she's coming and doing, that's the respect that she's obligated to come to give her husband. So that's how I just answered that question as well. Okay, fine. So now we have the real question. What's the bomb question? The bomb question goes as follows. What did we just say? You have your father and your mother, and they both ask you for a glass of water. Who do you give first? Your father. Why? Because your mother is obligated also in the respect of your father. Okay. Now I'm going to ask you the following question. Yeah? You have your wife and your father-in-law. Now, 1 second. Right? Who do you give first? Yeah? Who would you serve first? So everybody would come and say, listen, right? You would give to your wife. Okay, fine. But 1 second. Let's flip it around. Your wife now has to serve somebody. Who who does she have to give?
Husband.
Yeah. So to the husband. But 1 second. If the husband is obligated in the respect of his father-in-law, now she has the respect of the husband. She has the respect of her father. But usually the husband comes first. But that's written in Mefurash in the Torah. The husband comes first. But now the question is why? If the husband is also obligated in the respect of his father-in-law, so therefore it's going to come out that the same thing with the father and the mother. Here, she's going to give to her husband, but she can't because since she's obligated to her father, yeah, but she has a husband. But the husband's also obligated to her father. So if the husband's obligated to respect her father, again, she should give her father-in-law. Why? Her father, sorry, which is his father-in-law. Why? Because at the end of the day, everyone's chayav in the kavod of the father-in-law. That's the question of the Pitchet Shuvah that he asked the bomb question that he says, I don't understand what's going on. Everyone understood the question?
Yes, but
so the Pitchet Shuvah at the beginning wants to answer a very simple answer, and I already gave you the answer beforehand. This is a proof that you're not obligated in the kavod of your father-in-law. It's only just like Shar Zekinim. Meaning his first answer is, this is a proof that we go like the Shach and the Bach, that basically a person is not really obligated 100% to honor the father-in-law. So since it's only just like respect of elderly people, so obviously the wife has to give to him. Now again, if he's going to have the derech eretz to come and pass it along 100%, but he's not obligated to because she's obligated to him. That is the answer, right, of the Pitche Teshuvah. However, though, right, there's another answer, right, which is actually something incredible, which they come and they say, which is as follows. Right? They come and they say, really, be'emet, right? When we come and we say this chovah, maybe if it is be'emet an obligation, so then what's going on exactly? Right? I'll give you an example. Mauricio brought down a Gemara. There's also a Gemara Masechet Kiddushin that once a woman gets married, she's exempt from kibud avayim. Why? Because now she's mishu'abedet lebala. She's subjugated to her husband. I'm going to ask you a question. What happens right now if the husband is out of town and he doesn't need anything, and the father comes and he calls his daughter and he tells his daughter, listen, can you get me a glass of water? Is she obligated to do it? Yes. Now why? Because the concept of the subjugation is that if it's going to bother, right, if it's going to bother the relationship between the husband and the wife, she is now subjugated to her husband, and therefore she has to come and everything to the husband. But if it's not going to bother anything, so he's out of town, or it's during a time where he does, or whatever it is, so then she's obligated in kibud avayim. So therefore, what the real answer is something incredible. Listen to this. When you have a mitzvah of kibud avayim, there's two mitzvot involved. There's a shi'abud, a chovah, like an obligation, and then there's the mitzvah, right? Which means you've got a mitzvah to fulfill the words, and then you are subjugated, you are obligated to do it. When a woman comes and she gets married, the obligation or the subjugation is erased. There's only a mitzvah. It's erased because now it became overcome. It's overriding. Why is it overriding? Because now she's subjugated to her husband. So that goes away. She only has a mitzvah. So therefore, whenever she comes and she has, right, something what to do with the parents, it's a mitzvah to do it. But it's not a chovah because she's got her husband. Fine. A child, right, towards the father, right, it was the same level. One more time. Let us go back to the previous case. What was the previous case? The son comes and he gets asked by his father and by his mother. They both ask him, give me a cup of water. So now he's obligated to his father to do a mitzvah, right? He has a mitzvah to do it and he's obligated to do it. The wife has the exact same thing to her husband. She's subjugated to her husband. She's mishubedet lebala. So therefore, the same level of shi'abud, of subjugation, applies from the son to the father and the wife to the husband. So therefore, he has to do the father first. Here in this case, even if you're going to tell me right now that the husband has an obligation to come and to respect his father-in-law, it's not a shi'abud, it's a mitzvah. It's not a subject, it's not an obligation, it's a mitzvah. There's a mitzvah for you to respect your father-in-law. The wife also does not have that obligation, it's only a mitzvah. So therefore, that's why it doesn't pass around it doesn't go around like this to say, if she's obligated to her father and her husband, but she's also obligated to the husband, but the husband's also obligated to her father. So according to that, it should go straight up, just like it goes. We don't say that, but it's two different obligations. It's two different halachot. So it comes out then, according to this halacha, that there's two different reasons why it wouldn't go to the father-in-law. Number one, either you're only obligated to respect your father-in-law like a elderly person and that's it. Right? Or number two, what it's going to be is that when a person's going to come and they're obligated, there's not a shiabud, it's not a subjugation, it's just a mitzvah to do it. So since it's a mitzvah to do it, you don't have that mitzvah. Now, again, if you want to know halakha l'maaseh, obviously, right? And this is very, very important, and this is what we did mention beforehand, though, right? There is a mitzvah of derech eretz, of a proper conduct, right? That, for example, I'll give you the best example. And this I remember I once heard a shiur many, many years ago in Venezuela, and this would happen, right? I'm right now the balabait. I've got on my right side, right beside me is my wife, or sometimes the wife sits opposite, depends, every family is different, right? So fine, I've got my father on my right side, my father-in-law on the left side. Basically, you've got the two parents, the two sets of parents are there by you for Shabbat. And now the question is, who do you serve first? So she's going to come and she's going to say, okay, who do I serve first? I can't serve my father first, meaning the wife is talking, right? I can't serve my father first because I'm subjugated to my husband. So I have to give it to my husband. Okay, so I'm going to serve the husband. But now the husband, he's obligated in Kavod Aviv, of his father. Now he's obligated in Kavod Chamiv, his father-in-law. But it's not the same thing. Because according to a lot of Shitot, it's only like elderly people. So the way that it's supposed to happen is she's going to come and she's going to give to her husband. The husband's going to pass it along and give it to his father. Then she's going to come and she's going, okay, I'm going to give another plate to my husband. He's going to come and pass it along to the father-in-law. And then the last one will come to him. That's the beautiful way of doing it with derech eretz, that first he's obligated to his father first before the father-in-law. That's according to everybody. And by doing that, you have it this way. There is a chidush by the Rav Chida that I would have to actually just find it again, because the Rav Chida comes and he says something incredible. The Rav Chida comes and he says, right, that a person is obligated, right? It could come out that a woman, right, is obligated in the... Here it is. Here's the Rav Chida. וכן האישה חייבת לכבד חמיה וחמותה כמה שתוכל, ויגדל חיוב האישה שהיא חייבת יותר בכבוד בעלה, וזהו כבודו. Meaning like this, there's two ways to learn the Rav Chida. And listen to this, the Rav Chida is on the Shulchan Aruch, right? And he says, I look in the Tanna D'Veliyahu. What is he trying to say? One way of trying to say is, who's obligated to respect the parents more? Am I obligated to respect my in-laws? Meaning, is that bond, is that obligation of respect stronger than my wife's obligations to respect her in-laws? Or is it on the same level? Right? One more time. They're both in-laws, right? They're both in-laws. The husband towards his in-laws and the wife towards her in-laws. Obviously, they're the parents of the other, right? The other spouse, right? The question is, who's obligated? Is it the same? Is it equal? Meaning, I'm obligated to respect my in-laws, I don't know if you want to call it, in levels, right? Level 1. And the wife is obligated to respect her in-laws, level 1. Or do we say, no. I'm obligated to respect my in-laws, level 2. And she's obligated to respect her in-laws, level 1. What's the halakha?
You're recording, Rabbi. The answer, for me.
So what comes out, says that Rav Chida, he says V'yigdal chiyuv ha'isha. There's even a bigger chiyuv on the isha to come and to respect her in-laws, even more than the husband respecting his in-laws. Why? She'i chayevet yoter bichvod bala. Because she's even obligated even more. Why? Because of the kavod of the husband. V'zeu kevodo. Meaning, if the husband's obligated to respect his parents and she's obligated to respect her husband, so therefore it's a greater obligation to respect her in-laws than what it is for him to respect his in-laws, which are her parents, right? Why? Because that's just a calculation. What's coming out? So it comes out. It's a beautiful concept, right? Of how it actually comes out of a bigger chidush, because now it comes out that if she had a choice, let's say the husband's not there, and she has her father-in-law and her father. So now who's she obligated to serve? It would come out that she would have to serve her father-in-law even before her own father, which is an incredible chidush. It's an incredible, because again, what we're trying to say is that if the entire thing is because of obligations, so she's obligated in the kavod of her husband, and there's where you have it. Now remember, the second a woman is divorced, this obligation breaks. There's no shibud anymore, and that's why we said that when the parents are divorced, that's why the child has a choice, whether it's the father or the mother, because they're both on the same level. So if it's both on the same level, that's fine. But if it's not both on the same level, the husband will always come first.